Our engineer Steve likes to play little games, little power games. Hi, everyone. Steve Lowery, the editor of the High Low, the arts and culture section of the Long Beach Post. We're a little late. Sorry. We know you're very busy. You know who else was busy this weekend? Our good friend Chris Watson of Park the Van. Hey, Chris.
How you doing, Steve?
Good, man. So let's see. I spent the weekend doing some laundry, watched a little Tiger King, and did a little editing. What were you doing, Chris?
Yeah, I watched a little Tiger King myself, and then we had an online music festival this year. I mean, for the first time ever, I should say. 24 bands, 4 countries, 8 hours, Saturday, Sunday, a whole lot of setup time. It was crazy.
It was 8 hours each day, right?
Yep.
Okay, so and not just 4. It was different continents, right? You had artists in Australia.
Yep. Australia, UK, Ireland, and then all over the country.
All right. So we did a little pre-interview because this is a very high-class operation.
Of course.
And when I talked to Chris this morning, he sounded like he'd been beat up. And you mentioned you actually physically pretty exhausted. Let's talk about first what went great. What went great with the concert?
Man, it was a music festival, so the best part about it was the performances. We had artists who are performing in ways that they're not used to. You know, they're usually on stage with their band. This time it was mostly solo sets. We had a few artists that were playing as duos. You know, there was a couple artists that lived together so that they didn't have to physically isolate themselves from other people. But there were some really intimate performances that were done, and they were incredible. To see that, and the comments from fans watching all over the place, like it mattered. And it was totally worth it for that alone, just to see the kind of response of people who are watching live music, communicating with each other, thinking about something positive and enjoying that time, getting their mind off all the crazy stuff that's happening around them. That was great.
What kind of comments were you getting?
Fans just saying thank you. You know, like thanks for this, like thanks for playing my favorite song, for playing my favorite song in a way I've never heard it before, for taking the time to give this kind of performance to these people. You know, I was feeling the same way. I was, you know, every single one of these bands that played, you know, they mean a lot to me and to our entire team, but to so many more people around the world. And that was incredible. I think just the process of organizing this event for our team felt great because it got our minds off of what was happening. And, you know, there hasn't been a lot of good news for us lately, and it gave us an opportunity to focus on something using the tools that we have and the experience that we have collected, you know, throughout the years to make something out of this situation.
How did you initially come up with the idea, and did it start kind of like a lot of ideas like, oh, we'll have this person and this person, and all of a sudden it just started to grow and grow? And how long ago did this first come to you?
I think it was probably maybe around March 13th when we all started really kind of panicking a little bit.
Right.
Tours were canceled. You know, we have close to 100 different events already this year that have been canceled or postponed.
Right.
Maybe 12 tours that have completely stopped. And then, like, just, you know, those thoughts you get in the middle of the night, like what's next? Like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Or like, and it's not just you. It's the lives and careers of a lot of other people. And so it was born out of one of those moments where, like, what can we do right now to help make something happen, hopefully raise a little bit of money for the artists to give a performance space, a stage.
Yeah.
That's really where it came from. And yeah, at first it was like, maybe let's ask all the artists who had tours canceled. And then it just turned into, let's see who wants to do it. You know, and we asked 24 of the artists that we work with. So we're a record label, we're a artist management company, and a music licensing company. And so we manage bands. We have a ton of artists that are also on our record label. And we asked 24 of these people if they wanted to perform, and every single one of them said yes.
Said yes. Yeah.
And that was the moment where it kind of turned into, well, how are we going to do it? You know, the logistics of it hadn't really been assembled yet.
I'm curious, did anybody write music specifically for the show that had to do with what's going on right now in some way or another?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I think that's not to say that it isn't happening. I know plenty of artists that we work with are recording and writing new music right now. There was some improv that was happening on the performances this weekend, but there was more, I think just celebration, like covers, fan favorites. It was all in all a really positive event, and I think the artists were just given an opportunity to play.
Yeah.
And that's and they were so great at it. And I think to not focus exactly on, again, the lack of normalcy right now, the craziness, the uncertainty, that wasn't the point of the event. It was to hopefully bring some light into everybody's homes from all over the place.
One nice thing would be anybody, especially when you get older like me, when you're young, you go to the music fest, it's fun. But then when you get older, your biggest complaint always is, oh man, the time in between the sets, they got to break everything down and put everything up. In this case, you guys just flipped a switch one to the other, right? You didn't have to do that.
You'd think so, but probably you and I have already had a conversation about a minute ago that people are hearing right now. And so it was kind of like that with the music festival. There was a bit of a delay when things got kicked off.
Right.
Everybody's using a different type of device. We had artists who were streaming to Instagram, and we would patch their Instagram feed into our Facebook feed. Like you can't really do that. The software isn't designed to do it this way, and we kind of had to hack the system a little bit in order to make sure that we had as many views as possible across all platforms. We set up a festival website for people to tune in to learn more about the artists. We archived almost all of the performances that happened, so you can go back and see what was there. But I think ideally, now that we've done it before, and I think we'll do it again, but we learned a little bit about how to operate a music festival, so we'll get that time between artists down to a smaller clip.
What was the biggest lesson you learned?
Don't book 24 bands to play a music festival in like a week. No, I think really like there's a lot of technology that we learn from. We designed this to be based on Instagram.
Right.
We had a quick conversations with some of our our connections at Facebook and Instagram, and we pivoted to use Facebook Live, and it was great. There's just a lot of great platforms out there for live streaming that everybody's getting used to right now, and technology is the key to it all. We had different levels of connectivity. As you mentioned, we had an artist playing in Australia. She was performing in the woods in a beautiful location, like outside Brisbane, and there wasn't great internet connection there. That we had artists playing in a basement in Nashville, and there wasn't great internet connection there either. So just kind of like testing those things. I think with anything, having the experience under our belt will allow us to go back and do it with more efficiency next time around.
Now, one thing about Chris is Chris was involved with, I think initially, or you were one of the people who started, was Music Tastes Good, right? Here in Long Beach?
Yeah. I came on board the first like 6 weeks before the first Music Tastes Good. The founder, Josh Fischel, was a really old friend of mine. His brother actually is one of our partners at Park the Van. So yeah, I've definitely been involved in the live, a real music festival space for many years.
And we were talking about that is, people always mention that. It didn't go off last year. I'm assuming it's not going to go off this year with things that are going on. People loved it, but you mentioned to me that you nearly had 60,000 viewers for Homesick. Those are the kind of numbers you could not have done here. Yeah.
It was, I mean, a surprise to us, to be honest with you. Like we're looking at the view counts through Facebook, as the event was happening. And, as I said, we're pulling feeds from different sources, from Facebook, from Instagram, from our own website. And at the end of the day, looking back at the view counts, so yeah, it was like over 55,000 views on the festival, which is really great to see. And it blew away our expectations.
Yeah. You said you'll do it again. How soon?
Not this weekend. I think hopefully at some point in the next couple of weeks we'll have some scaled down versions of this. We always, as soon as we started talking about it, we were already thinking of the next one, like what could we do thematically, something a little bit more manageable. I know all the artists are asking, like, when can we play again? So of course we'll make it happen, but it's got to be tighten things up a little bit.
Last week we had on the musical director of Musica Angelica, which is a Baroque orchestra, and he talked about the difference between a musician playing and a musician performing. and musicians really live to perform. They'll always tell you what they're able to do all of a sudden goes to another level. And you were mentioning your musicians are kind of chomping at the bit for something like this, right? They need to be out there, right?
Yeah, and I don't know if performing in your living room to your computer's camera or to your phone is the same experience. I mean,
yeah,
we were sitting there. I personally streamed most of the concert to my Apple TV and was watching with my family on my couch, which was strange but really cool too. But after songs were over, we're sitting there clapping, and there's like 4 of us in the room, excited as hell about what we just saw.
right.
But to not have that live applause is a little strange, and to get that immediate feedback can be a little. I mean, maybe it's becoming a new normal, and it won't be that big after you've done this, several times. But there's a part of the performance, I think, that was missing for everybody, just that initial feedback. But I know for a fact, and just from the comments, and just because from my own reaction to it, it wasn't lost. Like being able to see somebody give you their creation, no matter where you are, and to know what it takes to do that, it's a lot, and it's I was really thankful that all these people took the time out of their days to give something back to other people, and hopefully that there was a bit of that transaction there that mattered to the artist as well. At least we think it was there. Yeah.
Let's talk about the new normal. I think most of us think that out of this. I think out of this, a lot more people are going to end up telecommuting, that a lot of companies are going to say, hey, man, people are just as productive at home. Why are we paying for rent space when we can get just much production out of people at home? I think there's going to be a lot of changes in work culture. Musically, or in the music industry, you guys had already started to make these changes because of various things, streaming services and the like. What do you see coming out of this period that will be different than going into this period?
I don't quite know yet. We're all learning right now. We all know that there's going to be some iteration ahead of us. What it does to the live market is going to be different. I mean, with live streaming, I don't know if this is the future. I know that like for artists, the way they monetize live streams is going to be different. Like turning this into a viable marketplace is that's going to be essential. But I remember thinking, how crazy things had changed after 9/11. So many different regulations were put in place. It changed all of our lives, and this can only be greater. And what it means for large gatherings and music festivals and conferences. Those are going to be the kinds of things I think we're going to have to pay a lot of attention to and be ready to adapt as necessary.
Most of your artists, are they full-time musicians? Do a lot of them have to do side gigs to kind of, put food on the table?
Yeah, I think most of our artists do have to. I mean, we're a small business. We're an independent business, and a lot of the artists that we work with are in similar situations where when they're not touring or recording, they work in lots of them work in the service industry. They're working at restaurants, they're bartenders, and they're not making any money right now. And they've been completely shut out of all their opportunities to generate revenue, which is terrifying. That was, I think, one of the reasons for just trying to find something there, just to keep everybody's mind off of how insane and intense this period is going to be for everybody. So yeah, a lot of them are. I mean, we definitely work with some artists too that they've managed and are fortunate enough to make it a career. But even still, that hurts. Thankfully, there are some resources that are starting to present themselves, and we're paying attention to the ones that make the most sense for us, for our organization, for our artists, and doing our best to circulate that info and trying to get some financial relief in this time.
How is Park the Band going to do you have a plan to kind of weather the storm?
Well, we have a lot of music to release. We
Yeah.
have a full release schedule for the rest of this year, and I don't know about you, but I find myself with a lot more time to listen to music, and so I'm trying to discover new music, and we have to get music out there, and it's really important that people have access to it and keep that arsenal of songs you can pull out and help you just to feel something else right now. I think is super important. So we're going to continue to release new music. We're going to continue to find ways to help our artists, monetize their time. Hopefully that's there's more of that in this future, and maybe that has includes more live streaming for us. And then as soon as possible, when it's safe, and we all feel that the time is right, we're going to get the show back on the road, and our artists are going to go back out there and tour. And we just don't know when that's going to be, and that's where I think a lot of the scariness and uncertainty comes, because a lot of revenue is made these days from touring, and not from streaming music.
By the way, I want to tell everyone that Park the Van and the Long Beach Post are both owned by Pacific Six, just to get that out of the way. That's not the reason we called Chris. We called Chris because he did this insane double concert over the weekend. And some of the bands are terrific, like Dustin Loveless, who's a Long Beach guy. By the way, where does Park the Van, where's that term come from?
It's a job, when you're, somebody's got to do it. So we've always said, that whatever it takes for our artists, if it means we have to park the van, we'll park the van.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's kind of a born out of that idea that you have to get on the road and tour, and play in front of people and meet new people. And right now the van is parked in the driveway, and it's going to stay there for a little bit.
And that's even more important now, isn't it? I mean, it used to be when I was growing up in the 70s, I remember the Beatles got a point, they never toured. They just put out music, and you could sell albums and then cassettes and then CDs and make lots of money off that and sit on your beautiful estate and you're fine. But the realities of music now is you've got to tour. Even the biggest acts have to tour to make money, right?
Yeah, to a certain degree, and depending on what type of genre of music that you're playing and who your audience is. I think I can only speak to what I know best and the experiences that we've had, and organic artist development seems to be the surefire way to connect with people in a way that has lasting and a lasting effect, and gives us the path to continue artist development, to help book tours and strategize around getting music into the places where people can find it, and hopefully let it be a part of their lives.
Now, people are wondering, Chris, these are not actually the Park the Van offices that we're seeing you in. Is that right?
No, this is a spare bedroom in my house that I turned into an office.
And over your right shoulder, who is that?
It's a picture of George Washington. My brother made that for me.
And over your other shoulder?
That's a painting that I thought looked like a young George W. Bush that I found, many years ago.
I said I thought it looked like Alex Rodriguez.
It does, yeah. Apparently he's the person you're supposed to call if you have any questions about what to do with coronavirus.
Hey, how did you get in this nutsy biz? We were talking about when you're a kid, you think I'll be a doctor or a lawyer, or I'll be a fireman or something like that. You don't normally think, I think I'll go into records and music management. How did you happen into it? Were you a musician yourself?
No, I've always been a really passionate music fan. And when I was 17 years old, this is in the late 90s, I built a website for my favorite band, and it was the band Sublime from Long Beach. And
okay.
Their team, which still includes some people that I work with today, including my business partner, Zach Michelle. They hired me. They gave me a job. I moved down to Long Beach from Olympia, Washington, and worked with the Sublime team for many years. And went from, developing a website to learning about tour marketing and retail development and artist development, and, just kind of sharpen my skill set over the course of the last, 20 years.
And that's the thing, like with what you did over the weekend in the music industry, things change so quick. There is no textbook. There is no blueprint, right? You guys are almost always learning on the fly, and the rules seem to always be changing.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah.
And so for us, we learn from the artists that we work with, but also our staff. We have a really sharp team that everybody has a different background and different types of experiences that have shaped them along the way, and take as much information as we can. And I think we're fortunate to be in a community of people who are very similar in that set, and we learn a lot from our peers. It's a really resourceful industry to be in, especially on the independent side. I think everybody's ready to hop on the phone and share experiences, and it's not as nasty or as competitive of a business as you see on TV. It's way more helpful. And do you sense people in the industry have kind of come together as things have gotten more challenging? They always have, yeah. As long, I think all of my personal experiences for the most part have been extremely positive, and as far as the community that operates behind the scenes in the music industry. And I'm extremely fortunate to be in a place that I'm at right now. And yeah, we'll continue to even still, like, there's a lot of conversations that are happening about what comes next, and everybody's sharing as much info as they can about how to handle it, and where to go, and really what we're going to do for the artists that need that kind of help.
The place you're at now is actually Sacramento, California. And
Yep.
describe to us the Watson household right now.
It's busy. Yeah, there's a pair of 2-year-old twin girls that are running around the house. We bought them a trampoline the other day to keep them busy because they can't go to the park and play with their friends. My wife is here. She's pregnant she's 6 months pregnant with baby number 3. My mother-in-law is visiting from New Orleans. She came out here to help us with the girls. I was getting ready to head out to South by Southwest this year, and that festival was canceled. So, yeah, grandma's here for a while, and things are crazy in New Orleans, and she's gonna stay with us for as long as she can. We're happy that she's here right now.
Yeah.
And then we have like pets too. It's just a madhouse. Yeah.
It's a menagerie, it sounds like.
It's insane.
Hey, you mentioned the Park the Band has some music they'll be releasing. Who's coming out soon that you're excited about?
Everything that we put out is great, but there's a band from a guy who has a great band from LA named Boyo. Boyo's got a new record that's coming out. We just released a really fantastic record from Long Beach artist Dustin Lovelace, which everybody should check out. A Sacramento artist named Mediocre Cafe. We've signed some deals this year. We've signed more new artists this year than our company has in the last decade, which has been fantastic. A new album from Drew Citron, who is the front woman of a band called Beverly, based in New York for a long time, that'll be coming out. We just signed a band from Nashville called Okie Dokie. That record rules. Neighbor Lady from Atlanta, Georgia. There's a constant stream of great music coming from Park the Band, and we'll get it out as soon as we can.
And one of the things you have to do is constantly be looking for new acts, I know. Are you able to do that even stuck inside, or do you need to be out on the road and seeing bands live?
No, I don't do a lot of being out on the road anymore with a family. There's the internet's great for that. I think a lot of our discovery comes from that, and the tools that we have to discover artists, from Spotify and SoundCloud and Bandcamp, and just talking, like I said, the resources that we share internally. Everybody's always talking about music, and so and just internally with our team, we have a Slack channel, and we just share new music all the time, going back and forth. It's harder almost to turn down great new music. There's just so much of it, and you have to say no sometimes.
Speaking of great new music, my son, who's in a band in San Francisco called Jerry's Timeshare, check him out.
This is what this interview is about, huh? You're trying to get your son a record deal?
I weaseled it all the way to get Jerry's Timeshare in there. Right. But he was talking about the fact that like so many of your artists, Jack has to work also. Now all these artists are allowed to be at home. And he was saying when this thing is over, there is going to be this crush of material that comes out from all these artists who've been able to sit and write, right?
Art in general is going to be incredibly impactful. I was having this conversation with my wife last night, just thinking, that from the types of film content, TV, just in general, this period of isolation that we're experiencing is going to shape a lot of creativity. It's not all going to be that beautiful. Some of it's going to be pretty bleak, and for the right reasons, but it's definitely going to have an impact. You're going to listen to music from this area and read books and films and plays and read stories that are about what people were doing at this time, and how it hit them, what kind of things it made them thankful for, and the kind of pain that people are experiencing too.
Music's obviously important to you. My last question is, doesn't have to be a Park the Band artist. What is your go-to album when you are feeling anxious, when you are feeling sad or melancholy? This could be something that you listen to. Where do you go?
I've been listening to a lot of Harry Nilsson lately. That's been making me feel pretty great. A lot of Neil Young. There's some new stuff out there that I've been enjoying quite a bit. The new Steve Malcolmus record, new Caribou record is fantastic. We just started working with a new management client that is really exciting. But even before that, Salami Rose Joe Lewis, an artist from the Bay Area. who's on Brain Feeder Records. Her music's been really important to me lately too, and helping me find some peace and creative brain space.
Is it difficult, by the way, at all for you to separate music from the music business?
Comes and goes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is, but at the end of the day, like, it's been the single thing that has helped me get through this.
Yeah.
Like
I think for a lot of us.
yeah, I could just go to it and get an immediate bolt of rejuvenation or peace or teleportation, whatever it is, but it's that does it for me. That's probably why I'm
Chris,
doing
if
it.
people want to check out the concert, where do they go to see it now?
You can go to parkthevan.com. If you go to
Okay.
parkthevan.com/homesick, we made a little landing page there. You can stream most of the sets that were there. You can learn more about the artists. You can donate to them if you want to, throw a few bucks their way or buy some merchandise. We even have a festival T-shirt we made that's available. So
that's cool.
Yeah, and all the proceeds for that, the net proceeds go to the artists who performed at the festival.
Terrific. Hey, Chris, thanks a lot for taking the time to be with us. Best of luck.
Thanks for having
me. I'm sure we'll talk to you down the road.
All right, take care.
Thanks, Chris.